So, Hero, we're back here again. Huh? Someone did a commentary on it? Shit! Oh well, I'll tackle a few points that they didn't really cover. And no, I don't hate this person. This is simply just a response, okay? Just want to clarify that. Let's go.
The two have a battle while Brock watches creepily in the background, and Red is forced to call back Charmander when its tail flame goes down. And yet somehow it wasn't affected by being doused with water earlier. You gotta love how they made a Pokemon with such an obvious weakness, and yet no one ever thinks to say, "Hey Squirtle, aim for its tail." Yeah, I know that would kill it, but not all trainers are good guys.
You serious? You're going to bring up that Charmander could die when the tail goes out, something from the Pokedex, yet you don't get why the tail flame didn't go down when he was hit by water? If you're going to use the Pokedex for this argument, aka something that has more contradictions in it than a damn religious book, then you might want to make sure that it can't be used against you. Oh look, it's going to be used against you. Pokemon Red. When it rains, steam is said to sprout from the tip of its tail, which basically implies that the heat is hot enough to make the water boil to the point of creating said steam. So if anything, steam would be created from it instead of the flame getting smaller. But to back up my claim even further on this, Pokemon Crystal. If it's healthy, the flame on the tip of its tail will burn vigorously, even if it gets a bit wet. And Pokemon Ruby. The flame that burns at the tip of its tail is an indication of its emotion. In other words, even if trainers hit the tail, it wouldn't do much to Charmander unless the rest of its body was getting hit. And before anyone brings up the anime episode where Charmander was in the rain, I'd like to point out that the person lied to the Charmander by not going back for it. Therefore, following the Pokedex entry for Ruby, it would be sad and weakened by this lie, hence the weak tail fire. This is also putting aside the possible abuse the trainer put onto the Charmander, which could also play a part in the weak tail fire as shown in that episode. Just saying, if you're going to use the Pokedex in this case, you might want to be careful what you use, since as shown here, it can be used to counter your argument rather easily. Now then, I need to get some bleach because I seriously just used the Pokedex for something other than a damn joke. Next.
Then we get Red being told about the ghost in Pokemon Tower, before going to the Pokemon House, to be told that it's where abandoned Pokemon are taken care of, to find the Cubone that was orphaned. You see where I'm going with this? I think by now you've begun to realize my problem with this movie. Instead of the anime, this is a very straightforward adaptation of the first Pokemon game's story. And that's kind of the problem. By making the adaptation so straightforward, it takes away a lot of what made the Pokemon anime so charming. Say what you will about how cheesy Pokemon can be, and make all the jokes you want about how Ash Ketchum is the worst trainer ever. Believe me, I'll make jokes at its expense right along with you. But damn it, I could never really call the Pokemon anime bad. Flawed, yes, but it's still entertaining, even if I'm riffing on it the whole time. The plot has so little to offer of its own that when you look up this movie on Wikipedia, in the plot section it just says, "See plot of Pokemon Red and Blue," followed by a 2-sentence summary.
Why did Sword Art get animated? Why did Dragon Ball get animated? Why did One Punch Man get animated? Why do most adaptations of manga or books get animated? Because a lot of people want to see something they liked reading, playing, etc. animated. With music, with voices, with action, that kind of stuff. Yes, we have the anime, but that is not a faithful adaptation of the games. It went so off the path of the original games that they're based off of that it might as well be its own thing. In fact, if Pokemon Origins did go down the path of the anime and make major changes to the source material, then what would be the point in making it when we have the anime to begin with? This special was designed so that people who love the first generation and or remember it can get a chance to see a proper adaptation of Generation 1. And while it does make a few changes, it's not as major as the anime, and it's still more faithful to the source material than the anime ever was. Next.
They're demanding they perfect it. They want to use it for themselves. Right now our scientists are locked inside Sylph and being forced to work on it day and night. And worst of all, they're using wild Pokemon in their experiments.
Why? No, seriously, why? I know you have to establish that they're evil, but holding a company hostage is evil enough. Otherwise, why would they be testing Pokemon to help a Pokeball work properly? Is the Master Ball powered by the tears of a forsaken Pokemon?
Gee, I wonder why. Why would they test a device designed to capture Pokemon on wild Pokemon? What I'm getting at is, you answered your own question. They want to test the capabilities of the Master Ball to see if it actually works, since they want to capture Mewtwo with it. And since Pokeballs don't work on captured Pokemon, it makes sense that they would use wild Pokemon as test subjects, because they can be captured with simple Pokeballs. Next.
Even I once loved Pokemon over all else. When did it all change? When did I become unable to see Pokemon as anything but tools for business?
And Charizard is just barely able to clinch the win, taking out Rhydon with a perfect Seismic Toss. And then Game Freak took away Charizard's ability to learn Seismic Toss in the later games. Why would you do that?
Probably because Seismic Toss isn't exactly a good move for Charizard to use. Looking at its stats, Charizard is more designed for special attacks rather than physical attacks. And sure, Mega Charizard X fixes that issue by having both special and physical attack stats have the same number, but Seismic Toss was removed long before Mega Evolutions were even a thing. Sure. Seismic Toss's damage is determined by the level of your Pokemon and not the stats of a Pokemon, but depending on the level, it could either be a really good move if it's a high enough level, or a really worthless move, especially in comparisons to moves that Charizard can learn, like Focus Blast, or if you want a physical move, Brick Break, both of which are also fighting type attacks. Even then, you can still get a Charizard with Seismic Toss. All you'd have to do is go back to Gen 3, get a Charizard, teach it Seismic Toss, and then transfer to Gen 4, 5, then Pokebank it. Is it a long process? Yes, but there is a way to get it.
I give a lot of credit to the voice acting and animation, as both are great, better than the Pokemon anime ever offered, to be honest. But in making everything sleeker and more streamlined, the creators took with them a lot of the charm that, while it made the Pokemon anime rough around the edges, it also made it more fun to watch. Otherwise, they're just retelling the story of the game, and if you wanted that, you could honestly just play Pokemon Fire Red or Leaf Green, or the original games on eShop, but honestly, why would you want to?
First off, like I said earlier, these kind of adaptations where they try to stick to the source material are made because a lot of people want to see the original source material animated with music, voices, etc. This also ties into another point. Another reason this could have been made was so that newer fans of Pokemon could go back and see where it all began without playing the first generation. Because not only is it dated in comparison to the changes in Gens 2 through 6, but the games are a lot longer to complete than simply watching this OVA. As for your Fire Red / 3DS eShop argument, 1. The Fire Red Leaf Green games are much longer to complete than the original Gen 1 games, and if someone wants to see where it all began but doesn't have the time or money, then Origins is a good substitute for that, since the Kanto games are a little lengthy. And 2. Why would you want to play the Gen 1 games on the eShop? Probably so that either newer fans can get into the franchise by starting from the beginning, or so that older fans can play the older games without worrying about the battery in the cartridge dying on them, because yeah, that was a problem back then. This is also ignoring that these eShop games will soon give you the option to transfer these Pokemon into Pokemon Sun and Moon, hence giving them another reason to exist. And that's just a few of the problems I have with this review. I could have also brought up the numerous inaccuracies in your intro statement, but I already left a comment on that, as well as other problems, but other people have already done that, and I don't feel like copying today. I know you wanted to get this review out there to finish the month of Pokemon Hero, but that's still no excuse for this review feeling like a rush job. But that's all I got for this, so have a good day, everyone.